Hey, and welcome to the Solid Verbal. Now would be a perfect time to consider subscribing. Yeah, that little subscribe button for year-round premium college football content. That's it. Here's the video. Enjoy. Subscribe.
Well, welcome back to the Solid Verbal, boys and girls. My name is Ty Hildenbrand. That fine gentleman over there, the one, the only, still the incomparable Dan Rubenstein. Dan Rubenstein, who may be making an appearance this weekend outside of Ryan Field.
Oh, yeah.
For the Northwestern Duke tailgating experience. I'm told it's an experience.
Yeah, I don't think I'm cooking or anything. I'm not making pizzas, but I do know some Northwestern fans going, and I live close enough that I should, college football, Big Ten football is on the North Shore of Chicago, that I should, check it out and get, pound the pavement. And so, yeah, if everything breaks correctly, I'm going to try to stop by. I love tailgating. So we'll see. I'm going to do my best. I am excited. It's week 2, Ty, though. It is. I'm just excited for everything. So if I can take a moment to get to a Big Ten tailgate, yeah, for sure I'm going to go.
That is what we need to do here. That is what you need to do if you're out amongst the people. If you are listening to this show, we hope wherever you may be that you are prepped and ready and excited for week 2. We're going to do our part here over the next hour or so to get you as ready for the week ahead as humanly possible. This episode, all of our episodes, don't forget, driven by our good friends over at Geico. If you are listening to this show at any point before 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, here's a reminder, we do a live show on Spotify at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
all you got to do is go to solidverbal.com/Spotify. I posted the wrong link last week in our very own verballers.com area, the secret area, the exclusive area. So people were trying to click through to get to it, and they're like, hey, the link doesn't work. That was my fault.
I'm new to the internet. My name's Ty. Yeah.
I used to work on the internet. I still do, and I'm still getting the hang of this thing. So solidverbal.com/Spotify is where you can go. We'll pick games. We'll do a fun little preview as we have been doing the last 3 weeks now. Again, live on Spotify, 5 p.m. Eastern. Verballers.com, Dan. Look, I can't say enough good things. We're promoting mods left and right in Discord. This thing is really growing up around us. I'm using words I never thought I'd use before. People are jumping in droves over to Discord to join in on the game day discussion that goes on, that has been teeming the last 2 weeks now, and I think will only continue to flourish. Verballers.com, get access to this show, all of our shows early. There's bonus coverage. There is video coverage. There are games, there are polls. We're going to spin up the Verballer Top 10 poll this weekend after the games. So just a lot. If you love the show, if you want to help support the show, a lot is out there for you. We'd encourage you to check it out at verballers.com. And last but certainly not least, Dan, we are doing a live show in 1 month, another one.
Yeah, buddy. A whole new concept, a top secret new concept. We're doing the night before week 6. New York, come out and support the Solid Verbal. Meet Ty. If you must, meet me. Buy Ty. I don't know if there's a food menu situation at the venue, but there will be food one way or the other.
Can I tell you a secret?
I'm ready.
Mama H is coming.
100% confirmed?
100% confirmed. Come hell or high water, Mama H is coming, yes.
Because it was a Gulfstream demand initially. I don't know how we're getting her there, but we're getting her there so you can meet Mama H, but be very polite. She is the reason this show exists. We're not calling out
Mama H does not want to be part of the content of the show. So don't do the thing where you're like, hey, everyone, there's Mama H. She won't like that.
No,
she won't. Do not do that. But those who know. Now, as officially as I am saying it,
yeah,
Mama H will be there. So
Mama H will be there. And so if you take a full whiff of Ty's hair, know that you'll be doing so in front of a much taller version of Ty in Mama H. Yeah.
Settle. Let's get on to it.
Let's.
We got some news to share here at the top of the show.
Sure.
Some good news, actually. How about that?
Sam Hartman Saturday?
Sam Hartman Saturday.
Hell yeah, baby.
If you want to take that and run with it, Sam Hartman is back with Wake Forest after having surgery last month, back on August the 9th, to remove a blood clot.
Oh.
Remember, there was that kind of unspoken
non-football
tension, uncertainty about the non-football related thing. He was out for a little bit, but had surgery to remove the blood clot. He had a follow-up ultrasound at the end of last week that looked clear. He's been given a clean bill of health.
Yeah, I saw he passed a number of medical evaluations and tests and physical challenges to assuage any concerns about the I think it's a thrombosis situation. I am not a medical doctor.
There's an official name for the syndrome, which I would probably butcher, but shorthand for it is called effort thrombosis, which is a condition that could emerge when you're doing highly strenuous activities like football. So long story short, he is back, which is great news. Good for him. There is a chance he could play this week against Vandy. I don't know if I'd count on that, but the operative point here is that before long, Sam Hartman will be back out on the field, and that's good for him. Because
it's good for us. Good for college football fans. Yeah,
good for college football fans. The other point that I wanted to bring up, and we haven't really had a chance to talk about this. I don't know how much we actually do want to talk about this, but it is meaningful for college football fans. The news came out yesterday. Pat McAfee going to be joining College GameDay. College GameDay in a full-time capacity. So Pat McAfee, of course, has had a string of just awesome news, not just with his podcast, the crazily popular Pat McAfee show, but he also does a thing for WWE on Friday nights, wedged in between there. I'm assuming because of a private jet situation, will be the full-time capacity on Game Day. So Game Day going to be changing just a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a show that does a very good job of a lot of stuff. That's not English. That's not even close to English, Ty. It's a show that does a lot of good things and is great for the sport, but I don't hate adding new energy. And Pat McAfee is nothing if not a giant, energetic ball of football love. So I think it's a good thing for the show. It's a good thing for Pat. So yeah, I'll for sure tune in, probably more often than I do now. So hey, good news.
We shall see. Shall we get into our picks of the week? Enough news.
I would love to.
All right, we're going to do our best here to help you out in week 2. Before we get into it, we have to name the Saturday. It has become our new tradition here on the show. The way that the college football playoff on New Year's Eve was supposed to be a quote-unquote new tradition, this is ours. Yeah. I've got slow your roll Saturday.
That's not bad. Have we done that before? Or it sounds so familiar.
Well,
just because you are so good at being you.
I had stop, drop, and roll Saturday last week.
Okay. Now you're slow your roll, so you're sticking with the rolls.
Yeah, because we often say on this show that the biggest improvement, and it's not just us, it's coaches, people who actually know football, they say that the biggest improvement takes place between weeks 1 and 2. And often, teams are not as bad as they look or not as good as they look in week 1. Week 2 is a time for pause, sort of pump the brakes a little bit and lean back, take a look at your preview content, the studying that you did in the build up to the season, and don't assume that everything you thought you knew goes out the window just because something in week 1 proved otherwise. Need to get a little bit more body of work here before we're throwing stuff out the window. So I say slow your roll Saturday.
Yeah.
Be cool. And let's plot ahead. Slow your roll.
That's not bad. I like that. Anytime I hear you or anybody say, you think you know, but you have no idea, I think about, I don't know, JoJo or Christina Aguilera on MTV's True Life or MTV's Diary, excuse me. You think you know, but you have no idea. That was always the bumper, right? The commercial bumper.
Was the bumper.
Like Mark Hoppus or any of the, the pop stars, Exhibit from like 2000. I went in a number of different directions with my S-word Saturday. S-word. First, I thought something's afoot Saturday. Something's afoot. Something's weird with this thing. Something's new with this team. Something is awful with this team. We only have a week of evidence, but something's afoot Saturday. I'm going to save that for later in the year. I'm going to save that for later in the year when we have a little more evidence. So I'm going to stick with your theme, but I went with a different word. It's actually not an S word, but it's an S sound. It's I'm from the San Fernando Valley, and so this word always came up with a bunch of Valley dudes and gals or whatever. Psych. So we thought we knew.
Psych Saturday?
We thought we knew what a team might be based on a dramatic result in week 1 or week 0 and week 1 in the case of Nebraska plays again, right?
Nebraska is off this week.
When do they play Georgia Southern? I thought I saw that they're playing Georgia Southern this week. Am I completely wrong on that?
I believe you are completely wrong on that.
Okay, hold on.
North
Nebraska?
Carolina plays Georgia State. Perhaps that's what you saw.
Hold on. We're going to get into an argument because I'm seeing at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, Nebraska is hosting Georgia Southern.
Okay. Well, then I'm wrong.
On Saturday, September 10th?
This would be Saturday, September 10th, correct?
Yeah. So how about we say, sorry, Dan, I duffed that Saturday. No, so I have this as like, okay, we saw something dramatic from a team. We saw something, oh my God, this team has turned the page. Oh my God, this team is a disaster. You know, in the case of Iowa's offense or Oregon, just the entirety of Oregon said it's, oh, psych. I like yours better because mine is just what a 10-year-old might say after something stupid. But I think thematically we're on the same page. Should we move forward?
Slow your roll Saturday. And
Okay.
as you're out there on Slow Your Roll Saturday, people really take exception to this segment. It happened again last week, the window of opportunity. I think our analysis was spot on. This week, I'm really not so sure. Again, we do this because there are a lot of folks out there who can't be in front of a TV all day. If you've got to run errands, we try to just say, you know, time up your errands with a specific window of opportunity where you're not going to miss too much of the action. You're not going to miss the gist of the weekend. This week, I don't know. It's hard this week. I think I would try to time it up with whenever that Bama, Georgia. I think I would try to time it up. I think I would try to time it up with whenever that Bama, Texas game starts getting out of hand. So maybe like 12:15 or so Eastern time.
Oh, wow. 15 minutes in. Okay. All right. That's not bad. No, I looked at the later window as the one where it wasn't as exciting. And maybe I'm wrong, but when you look at the night games, is there something that really jumps out to you at night as appointment television?
I mean, I think a lot of USC Stanford, and you don't.
That's your headline?
I think a lot of Kentucky, Florida. I think that game's going to be a war,
Kentucky,
and
Florida's going to be terrific.
7.
Yeah. Okay.
There are some other games here that are of interest. Baylor, BYU could be an interesting game. That's a later game, 10:15. But yeah, there's games all throughout the day.
Late?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. All right.
Why don't we move on? Let's go to 12 p.m. Eastern time on the Fox network, Dan. It's Alabama minus 20.5 on the road at Texas. This is a great non-conference matchup, if only in name. Here is what happened this week. Did you see that Dark Saban made an appearance?
Yeah, there was something along the lines of everybody's talking about how Sark knows Alabama, but we know Sark.
Quote, we've played several teams who know us, but you act like we don't know them. That was his tone. That was his tone. Said it with that little cocksure grin, Dan.
Mm-hmm. Got
Nick
73 analysts watching every single player on every single play for every single team. Yeah.
I'm enjoying the extra half teaspoon of paprika that I think coaches have this year, whether it's Nard Dog, Pat Narduzzi.
Kirby was kind of
Saban,
spicy after,
Kirby. It's a little bit of extra spice this year. It's good for us.
They all need goatees, though. As I'm saying, we need 2022 to be the year of the evil goatee, or even just like a very demonstrative soul patch. Continue.
The line here is 20.5. It's a big number. Does it scare you?
I mean, no, it doesn't scare me. No, it scares me in that it's a big number on the road for a team. I think last year's Bama squad, which is not this year's Bama squad, for better or worse, and I think they'll probably have a better defense this year. They did not cover as road favorites last year. They were something like 1-4, I believe, as a road favorite with Bryce Young. You can quote me or not quote me on that. I don't really care. But it's a big number, and we don't know a ton about Texas. There were some good and some questionable after their win against Louisiana Monroe. I'm not crazy about what we don't know about Quinn Ewers, in that he didn't really throw downfield a lot. A lot of the chunk plays were shorter throws that, Bijan Robinson or whoever took for a good amount of yardage. The defense looked improved, again, but it's sample size of nothing, and it's a lot more difficult. We know that Texas, a different Texas team, but the same crowd, a similar crowd, got this team into a frenzy against LSU a few years ago in that major matchup in Austin. I'm a little bit scared about giving those points, but there's so much more to know about Alabama than there is about this Texas team. You know, the Texas offensive line, the Texas ability to go downfield, obviously more beat up at receiver than they would have liked to be. English, possibly. Heading into the season, defense looked improved, but, you know, it's good guys, Jameson and Overshawn, all these guys, but it's Louisiana Monroe. It's something that we can't really take as gospel. So I'd be okay taking Alabama minus, I don't know what the number is at the moment, 20 and a half?
Yeah, 20 and a half.
And I think it might be more because of the defense. I think the Alabama front, it'd be easy to say, well, look, it's a lot of new names, you know, Jermaine Burton and Jahmyr Gibbs entering into prominent roles. It was a good thing. It's a very good thing to have Jahmyr Gibbs entering into a prominent role for your team. But new rhythm, you know, he doesn't fully know, you know, what it's like to be in that position for Alabama in this kind of spot. But the defense against, I mean, I know Texas started a true freshman at left tackle last week, Kelvin Banks, who actually played very well. But, you know, it's still an offensive line that is not fully dependable for Texas. And so for that reason, I worry about Texas keeping this close and the lack of battle testiness, hopefully not a term, of Quinn Ewers. So I'm going to give those points on the road for Alabama.
Giving those points, huh?
Yeah.
I think I'm with you. The only thing that frightens me is...
And the spice factor, too, as you mentioned, Ty.
There is a spice factor. What concerns me with respect to this point spread is the backdoor cover.
Okay.
I do think there's potential here for that. I don't think that Texas's defense is going to be able to stop Alabama's offense. In fairness, most teams won't stop Alabama's offense.
Right.
It's not necessarily a knock against Texas. It's just the reality of college football at the moment. I could totally see a scenario in which Bama pulls its starters and Texas leaves all its guys in the game to get experience, and then they find a way to cover 21, whatever the number ends up being. So
right.
That's what frightens me more so than who's actually winning this game. I have no doubt in my mind that Bama's going to win this game fairly comfortably. I think the lesson I learned through 2 weeks now of the season is to trust my gut.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to listen to you. Not going to listen
That's
to Bill
fine.
Connolly. What does he know anyway, Bill?
Yeah.
Not going to listen to the Verballerhood. I love the Verballerhood, but whatever.
No, do your thing.
I'm just going to trust my gut, and I'm gonna hop aboard the Underthink Express all week. I'm going to go Bama minus whatever here.
There's also an element that I think plays into your line of thinking, and as the conductor of the Underthink Express, is if Alabama is up big, this is a team against which they recruit for top tier talent, and to beat a team 42-14 or to beat a team 59-14, leave no doubt the fact that Nick Saban, who now apparently texts, he's now an occasional texter to recruits. Before he was only phone, maybe video calls as well, that he can say, You see the Texas outcome, 5-star defensive tackle from Houston. You see that? Was there any question?
Saban is using emojis? Does Saban use emojis? Does he know what they are?
Nick Saban is using correct punctuation in his texts. That is paragraphs. We're very excited to have you on campus. Period. We think you and your family are really going to fit in well here. Period. I don't think it's going to be I don't think there's casual texting in Nick Saban's DNA.
We both got Bama here minus whatever.
And he probably signs Coach Saban. Dash Nick, Coach Saban. Yeah.
3:30 ABC. It is Tennessee minus 6.5 points on the road at Pitt. This is a cool matchup.
Yeah.
This is a great non-conference matchup between two good teams. If you really zoom in, the key matchup here is probably the Pitt defensive line, one of the top, easily top 10 defensive fronts in the country against a Tennessee offensive line that frankly struggled last season.
Yeah.
And we talked about it when we did the spring snapshots back in March and April. Again, they had to modify the format of their spring scrimmage because of their lack of offensive linemen and some other factors at Tennessee with renovations and whatnot. But offensive line is an area where they've known all offseason that they need to improve. And just given the nature of the matchup here, it feels like a pretty big-time advantage in favor of Pitt here. So on top of that, the fact that the game is also at home for Pitt I really like that.
Okay.
I really like that combination. What gives me pause here, the cause for pause, the favorite pet charity, is potentially the letdown spot for Pitt. Coming off of that dramatic win in the backyard brawl. Also, I think Tennessee's the better team, right? Speaking of Underthink Express, I think Tennessee across the board is the better team. I don't know about the situation, though.
Right.
Like, they've got the better offense. Defensively, I think Pitt will be able to move the ball on them. I worry that this game devolves into a high-scoring affair. And you know my rule. My rule is if you're getting about a touchdown in a shootout, you take those points.
What is the current number? 6, 7?
I've seen it 6.5. I've seen it 7. Maybe for our purposes here, just to further bolster my argument, we can say 7, if you're cool with 7.
Sure.
Can we buy that extra half point? I think game is fun as hell. I think a lot of points, maybe something like 41-37, and maybe Tennessee winning outright. But Pitt at home getting that point, getting those 7 points,
Right.
And that mismatch that I can't get out of my head, the defensive line against Tennessee's offensive front. I think there's a chance here that Hendon Hooker's running for his life. So I'm going to go Pitt plus the number at home.
Hard to know exactly what Pitt's defensive front or defensive line or pass rushers truly are because West Virginia's line is pretty bad. We'll see if they improve over the course of the year. But yeah, JT Daniels was hit pretty hard last week. And I'm for sure willing to say Pitt plays well up front. But also, that's something to consider. Tennessee not tested in the way that Pitt has been. Pitt won on a pick six, a pretty fortunate pick six. So they still could have won that game without it. But something to consider in that big emotional spot. If this game was an early kickoff, I might like Tennessee a little bit more in a letdown spot. But it is, 3:30 Eastern kick?
Correct.
I marked down on my preview Tennessee. I'm going to go with what I believe to be the better quarterback. I've watched Kedon Slovis in enough big games, different situation, different coordinate. I understand all of that. You look at last year, it was, I think, Tasir Mack no longer there. Obviously, Kenny Pickett no longer there. Jordan Addison no longer there. New offensive coordinator. I worry a little bit that, and this was, I think, a Joe Milton game for the first part until he got hurt.
That's right.
Was it
That's
not?
right.
Yeah. And he ran well. No, they didn't run, either team didn't really run that well intentionally. Some of the quarterbacks made plays. So I think Hendon Hooker, with the benefit of experience, with a little bit of mystery to Tennessee right now, since obviously they didn't play a significant team last week, I think Tennessee has an advantage here in knowing a little bit more about Pitt than Pitt knows about Tennessee. So I'm going to go with the Vols here, actually. I'm going to go with the Vols on the road. I hate the pick. I do. But sometimes I just have enough evidence of Kedon Slovis that I don't fully trust him. In a spot like this, I'm going Hendon Hooker and the Vols on the road to take a step forward in, at best, a pseudo letdown spot.
To cover the point spread?
6.5, 7 points.
It's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points, but it is a letdown spot. Man. No, not to cover. I think they win this game outright, but I think it is like a 3 or 4 point win. So I suppose I'm taking the points there.
That was where I kind of talked myself off of Tennessee because my gut was to go with the Vols.
Yeah.
It really was. But I like Pitt. I like the defense. I really think that matchup. I'm not an X's and O's guy.
Right.
People who listen to the show know that.
Right.
If you're just made aware of this fact, I apologize for any
that's okay.
Any inconvenience. But
be you.
That matchup to me is, I think, worthy of a second look. So we're both on Pitt then, plus the number at home.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, the Pitt DBs and secondary are going to be tested, and I think JT Daniels' final line last week against this Pitt defense is a little bit misleading because of the drops and the amount of pressure he was under. I thought he made good throws. The big thing was Pitt got off the field last week. That was a big deal, and that's in playing against a team who's looking to bomb the ball downfield and win through the air in large part. I like Pitt to keep it close enough, but yeah, I'm going to underthink this one and think I like where Tennessee is at as a passing attack more. I'll go Tennessee to win, Pitt to cover.
4 p.m. Big Ten Network. It is Iowa State at Iowa. Iowa favored by 3.5 points. If you're at home right now wondering, what's Vegas think of this game? You should know that the over-under is basically a bad NFL game. 41.5 points is where we're at the moment. I expect a lot of folks are going to jump aboard the Iowa State bandwagon this week.
The double-decker bus? Hunter? Okay, sorry.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, right?
It's not bad.
The double-deckers bus. They just double-deck. Okay, continue.
I understand the logic of backing Iowa State here. I just want to reiterate that you typically see improvement from week 1 to week 2. Maybe Brian Ferentz just didn't want to show too much against the Jackrabbits, the vaunted Jackrabbits of South Dakota State, knowing that this game, big in-state rivalry, was on the horizon. I think Iowa's offense genuinely stinks.
Okay.
This is not a profound statement by any stretch of the imagination. I also think that their defense is legitimately good. This is a very good defense.
Mm-hmm.
That is not smoke and mirrors. This is a very good defense with maybe the best linebacking core in the country. I mean, very, very good. Very good defense. Also, Iowa State, given the fact that they are replacing big-time production at quarterback, at running back, tight end, basically the nucleus of this offense for 2 to 3 years, going up against this Iowa defense, that gives me more cause for pause here. Really gives me some cause for pause.
Okay.
Also, Matt Campbell's 0-5 against Kirk Ferentz, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
And whatever you make of the trends.
Yeah. The Clones have lost 6 straight overall, but yeah.
Yeah. I think the move is Iowa, man. I don't like it. I wouldn't touch the point spread with a 10-foot pole. 3.5, they could win by 1.5. I don't know. But
did they not shred the Clones last year with Iowa State having a ton of experienced, positive talent? Is that not what we saw last year?
All I'm saying is I'm not even thinking of it in terms of the point spread.
Okay.
I'm just thinking of it in terms of the trust meter that we've discussed. It's about trust, babe.
Yeah.
It's about trust. I can trust the Iowa defense, and despite the fact that I said Kirk Ferentz should retire, we can trust him in this matchup. He's 5-0 against Matt Campbell for a reason. So I don't like it, but I'm on Iowa minus 3.5.
So let me play a thought exercise for you quite quickly. I'm going to try to make it quick. If Iowa is merely not super impressive last week against South Dakota State, so instead of winning that game, final score was 7-3, correct?
The gentleman's touchdown, yes.
What if they win that game 17-6? I know this is a universe in which we do not live. This is not a reality-based question. If they win that game 13-3, right? Where it's like that Iowa offense looked pretty bad. They win that game 13-3, but not comically field goal safety to 3. The line is like 7 or 8 points, right?
Yeah.
If Iowa is merely bad within a standard deviation of usual Iowa badness offensively.
Right.
So Iowa is actually my lock of the week this week.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Talk about a bit of a zag, Dan. I really like that. I love that play.
It's my play because I'm a big believer in throw out your best day and throw out your worst day, right? Yep. Everything in the middle of that bread is where we live. And so it can't get worse for Iowa football. It can't. And so the Iowa offense, the Iowa, running back situation, receiver situation, quarterback situation, it's not great at the moment. But still, if they're merely definitely bad, but not comically so, they're a touchdown favorite. So I'm taking Iowa lock of the week to win this game by
we
a touchdown.
We agree again.
Yeah. Lock
3 in a row to
and
start off
home,
our
right?
week 2
This game is in
preview.
Iowa City, is it not?
It is in Iowa City,
Yeah,
yes.
There you go.
4 p.m. FS1. Houston at Texas Tech. Tech favored by 3 points.
Yeah.
Interesting line there.
Mm-hmm.
We had a really nice showing by both teams last week for different reasons. Houston had to scrape and claw through triple OT to knock off UTSA. Good UTSA team, by the way. Tech routed Murray State. Donovan Smith had to come in for Tyler Shuck. It sucks he got hurt again, but
yeah,
Donovan Smith looked pretty good in limited
it was good
action.
last year too when he came in later on in the season. Yeah, had some. I mean,
Yep.
don't watch the Oklahoma State team, but he was pretty good against Baylor. Was good in the bowl game. Like had some impressive throws. So Texas Tech has one of the better backup quarterback situations. Continue.
Yeah, and he's going to be the starter for, I think, at least 2 more weeks because Tyler Shuck hurt his left shoulder, and will be out a minimum of 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's probably, it might, I don't know if it's a collarbone situation, but I think it's closer to a month. Yeah.
The over-under is 65. Vegas knows it. We know it. We're going to see a lot of points. We're going to see a lot of passing yardage just based on how these teams are built and how they want to play. Tech won the game by 17 last year, for whatever you make of that, 38-21. That was when Sonny Cumbie was the interim coach after Matt Wells got the axe. So where do you stand here, Dan? You've been all in on Houston since we did previews many moons ago. Are you sticking to your guns here and going with the Cougs again, or does it weird you out a little bit that this game's in Lubbock, that Texas Tech is a bit of an unknown quantity? They're gumpy. They've got a fiery new coach who's from Texas.
Well, this is
a quarterback who played well last season. Just a lot to like about the Red Raiders.
Played well in relief last week as well, did he not? I think he was super accurate and made plays. You know how much I love alliteration. So how do I avoid the Lubbock letdown for Houston in the wake of a triple overtime win with their quarterback soaring in triple overtime for a game-winning touchdown? And I still think Houston is very, very good, but maybe I'm just a product of your sales pitch for Texas
it's been working,
Tech's gumpiness.
baby.
But right, this is Gumpy week number 1 for
it's
Tech.
Gumpy. It's Gumpy week number 1. Texas Tech is the trap team of the year all year.
Right.
This is Gumpy situation number 1. Yeah, Houston. And look, I didn't even count this one on the list when we went through. We were just looking through at Big 12 teams, but Houston a week after triple OT win, in-state rival now, I guess is fair to say, against UTSA. Had to come back. It was emotional. I'm on Tech here. I've come too far with Texas Tech to bail on them at this point. I did give this one a lot of thought because I do believe that Houston is genuinely the better team, but I am not slowing my roll in this instance, Dan. I am full throttle ahead with Texas Tech. Give me Tech at home minus the number. Let's go.
What is it? 3.5? So Vegas feels as if these two teams are relatively equal and on the same page. Usually the home team gets around 3 in addition to whatever number is percolating. So yeah, I'm going Tech here as well. Will be fascinating to see, and it's an especially interesting matchup if Texas Tech and that new offense, if they're getting the ball out quickly, that can neutralize what I think is going to be a pretty good, if not really good, Houston pass rush all season long. So that's a plus for me. The experience now of Donovan Smith coming in relief last week, and obviously the last 3 or 4 games. I don't know how many games he played last year, but he was in there when they were dealing with injury issues. So I think it's ideal if they can handle Tank Dell to whatever extent. I think Red Raiders are going to be in a good place. So yeah, I expect points, but yeah, I think they win this game by 5 or 6.
7 p.m. ESPN, Kentucky on the road at Florida. Florida, 5.5 point favorite in this game, Dan. When I wrote up my preview notes, it was 4.5. So the mojo, the excitement around Anthony Richardson and this Florida team for sure has been percolating all week. Bettors are jumping aboard the Florida Gators. I think this game's going to be an absolute war.
Okay.
I think this game is going to be an absolute freaking war. It's a nice early season test for Florida, for sure, playing 2 extremely physical opponents of back-to-back weeks. So I don't know if there's a body blow theory here. It is just the second week of the season. I think everyone's still pretty fresh.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. It's a lot. Back-to-back Utah and Kentucky. I believe that Florida is good enough to win this game, and I believe that because I remain very excited about Anthony Richardson. I think he's a unique talent. We had the stat last week where he didn't take any losses at all, despite the fact that he ran the ball, 11 times or something like that. I mean, he's a big dude. He's fast. He falls forward. It's just those guys are a nightmare to try and match up with, try and stop them. And so I think he is such a unique talent with his size and speed that Florida eventually ends up winning this game. If I were just picking a winner, I'd go Florida. But 5.5 is a lot of points. For a game like this, I don't know. That seems to me like an overreaction to the win over Utah. 5.5. So on top of it, there is a chance of a letdown here. You don't often see letdowns at home, but after a full offseason of good vibrations with Billy Napier coming aboard, a big matchup against a top 10 team in Utah at home at night. You win that game in the fashion that they did, 29-26. Yeah, everyone at Florida is feeling pretty good about the state of this program here. Meanwhile, Kentucky has a veteran team, good quarterback, a first-round quarterback, depending who you talk to. They got 7 guys back on defense. They will be well prepared because they're a well-coached team. My lock of the week is Kentucky +5.
A road team in the swamp.
Yeah, +5, +5.5. I think Florida wins, but I can't see Kentucky losing by more than 3 or 4 points. I think this is going to be a really tight game.
If this were a nooner, I think you would have a more obvious pick in Kentucky. Letdown spot, start the day, crowd slow, filing in after a big Friday night or whatever. A night game in the swamp. It's a revenge spot. If you remember this loss last year, now it's an Emory Jones Florida team, but this loss last year was sort of the beginning of the end. I think it was early October, I want to say, when these two teams faced off in Lexington last year. And kind of an ugly, listless offensive loss for Florida. So it's a revenge spot for Florida. Kentucky's a top 20 team. So they're not being looked past, right? That Will Levis is a known quantity, that obviously Mark Stoops and, their defensive coordinator has now been around for a few years. I think they're a step back on the offensive line, Kentucky. They're still probably good. Probably. We haven't really fully seen them. But we'll see if Tavian Robinson, the transfer, if once again he is that stand-in, as we noted, he's occupying that Wan'Dale Robinson role, just like you occupy that on this show. You are our Wan'Dale Robinson.
Always.
You're Mr. Versatile. I think Swamp's a tough place to play, man. There's something that bothers me about maybe Kentucky not being able to run the ball like Utah was able to, down their best running back, as we know, in Chris Rodriguez. I'm taking Florida here. I'm going to give the points.
Wow.
I think there's something about Anthony Richardson is going to probably be better. We'll see. The secondary, I don't think is going to be as good as, and Kentucky's in a good spot at safety. We'll see if Anthony Richardson's able to pick on corners, which I think he will be able to do, more than he was able to do against Utah. I think Utah's in a better place on defense. So, yes, it's, a second straight tough opponent. But also Florida gets better from game 1 to game 2, do they not? They're allowed to.
Yeah.
They know more about who they are. They made plays on both sides of the ball. And so that being the case at home, yeah, I think I have Florida winning this game 30-23.
I expected the line was going to move in the opposite direction because when I started taking notes this week, it was at 4.5 in favor of Florida, again, at home at night. I thought for sure by the time we did this preview, it would be something in the 3.5 vicinity. It went the opposite direction. So either I'm all wet here and I have no idea what I'm talking about, which I would advise has happened many times before. Certainly. Or I'm getting a free 1.5 out of this.
Right.
So I'm going Kentucky. Kentucky is one of my locks of the week. There will be more.
Okay.
Let's go to 7:30 ABC. It is your USC Trojans on the road at Stanford. This line has jumped around. When I saw it, when I wrote up the previews, it was 10.5. Now it is down to 9. USC, a 9-point road favorite, Dan. I will give you the floor for this one since you are our Pac-12 aficionado on this year's Solid Verbal College Football podcast. I have thoughts on this game. I think you know what my thoughts are on this game. I gave you my thoughts on this game many weeks ago.
Yeah.
So after you, sir.
This game is in the Pac-12 stadium with probably the least amount of home field advantage. So I don't care that this is the weekender for USC. There is no juice in Palo Alto. Beautiful trees on the farm. There is no juice in Palo Alto for football games. So I have USC easily in this game. Easily winning, easily covering, whatever. What we talk about what Stanford's intentions were last year, which is like run the ball efficiently. You know what they did against Colgate? Again, week 1. But Colgate, all due respect to Hamilton, New York, if you take away, take away the worst day for Iowa, take away the best day, take away the worst day, and there you have reality. Stanford running back E.J. Smith, I believe Emmitt Smith's son.
Correct.
It was like 11 carries for 118 yards. He had an 87-yard run in there. So you take away that best run, that's 10 for 31. The well-recruited offensive line and an offense that has no idea what to do week to week. And a defense that I don't trust at all. That's just progressively gotten worse. I think USC is going to win this game easily. I have it at like 45-13.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think
No
Tanner
respect.
McKee is good. Tanner McKee is in a situation I will never criticize somebody for saying, I want to go play football at Stanford. It's a beautiful campus. You get a great education. It's a great decision to have the opportunity and attend Stanford, no matter what you do. But it's kind of also a bad decision to go to Stanford if you want to win football games. And so I question Tanner McKee's decision-making. USC big. Now, I don't fully trust the USC defense because they were able to generate a lot of points, and so that may have misrepresented that final score. But they also did what a really good team should do against an outmatched Rice team. So I'm good with USC being good. So 45-13 Trojans. Don't overthink it.
Interesting.
Oh, my God. You're getting involved. You're getting in bed with the Stanford Cardinals.
Let's do it.
Oh, you
Let's
silly
do it.
bitch. Oh, you
Let's-
dumb.
Let's do it. I think there is only one way this works for Stanford.
Okay.
There's only one way
Walk
that
me
this can
through
go
it.
down.
Yeah.
Only one way that this can go down that Stanford covers this point spread. I'm not saying they're beating USC. Okay, I've talked myself off of that pedestal.
Yeah.
But there's only one way they can cover this point spread. And it's for them to play ball control and play keep away from the USC offense.
They can't. They literally can't.
That's what I'm worried. I'm a little bit worried about that, okay?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried about that. I am not totally convinced that they've got the skill along the offensive line to play that game. And I say that for many of the purposes that you just highlighted with what they did week 1 against Colgate. I would add that this is a veteran offensive line with everyone back. They just weren't good last season, and they may not be good again this season. There's no
Okay.
guarantees here that they're going to take a big stride, a big step forward in week 2. After, again, many of the same issues came out in week 1. If we can see some improved line play, and if is doing some heavy lifting, I fully acknowledge it. That opens up possibilities for Tanner McKee, who I think we both feel could be one of the better quarterbacks in college football, if given opportunity.
But how would we ever know? Yeah.
It's a tree falling in the forest, right?
It's a literal Stanford tree. Yeah.
And we've got E.J. Smith, son of Emmitt Smith, as you pointed out, went to Stanford over Bama, Georgia, and A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Very highly sought after recruit. It's a specific formula, but the only way that Stanford covers this point spread is if they can find it in themselves to push around USC along the line, play ball control, run the ball effectively, open up some play action stuff for Tanner McKee. That's the only way this goes down. The issue is that they're really outgunned in the trenches on defense, right? So you got to try and keep it out of Caleb Williams' hands as much as possible. Regardless of what you think about USC's offensive line, I can assure you that USC's offensive line is way better than Stanford's defensive front.
Mm-hmm.
The strength for Stanford is in its secondary, certainly not in the front seven. And as you know, there are limits to that as well. If a guy like a Caleb Williams gets a chance to throw, if he's got time to pick apart and throw to Jordan Addison or whoever, like, it's not going to matter much how good the secondary is. So this is all a very long way of saying, again, the specific formula for Stanford to cover this point spread is to play ball control, to run the ball effectively. I'm not talking for 250 yards. I'm just talking like 165 yards with good time of possession, converting on third downs, that type of thing.
Okay.
That's the only way that goes down. I am going to believe in the occult forces of even year David Shaw.
Okay.
And I'm going to stick to my guns from a few months ago.
All
Stanford-
top academic institutions can only get it done every other year.
That's right. That's
Okay.
the way this thing goes. So I'm going Stanford +9, home dog of the week.
So Stanford's offense and defense. So the offense couldn't stay on the field. The defense couldn't get off the field against Colgate. Okay. Also, last year, bigger sample size than just the one game, and just strictly from a gambling point of view, Stanford 3-9 against the spread. What does that tell us? Vegas probably overrated the number that Stanford was getting for most of the year last year because they spent the majority of the year, if not all year, as an underdog. So they overrated a bad Stanford team last year. So in the shadow of that, you say, well, what did Stanford do at home last year, at least? They were even worse at home against the spread than they were overall. They were 1-4, I believe, at home against the spread, both as underdogs and just overall. They did beat Oregon as an underdog. Oregon, Anthony Brown, Joe Moorhead out, whatever. And that was a Rod Gilmore game. That was a 480p broadcast. It's weird. Doesn't excuse anything. I'm just telling you, Vegas looks at Stanford in the way you look at Stanford, with that high-pitched voice saying, maybe. And they're generally wrong in the way that they evaluate the line for Stanford.
Okay,
so
we'll see. We'll see, won't we?
We will absolutely see, because that's how life works. It continues to move along. But good luck with that. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We got a bunch of other games that I want to rifle through if we can. Can we do rapid fire?
Let's
do rapid fire. Friday, 7:30, ESPN2, Louisville on the road at UCF. UCF favored by 6.5. Who you got?
I'm taking the Knights. Situational disaster for Louisville. Road game, 8 p.m. kick last week against Syracuse. Gets worked over. Back on the road, short week. It's a Friday night game, is it not?
Friday night, 7:30.
So they're
ESPN2.
getting home Sunday morning from Syracuse, and then they're back on the road Thursday. So they've basically had no time to practice and recover, and they're going back on the road to take on John Rice Plumlee, and it is Rice. John Rice Plumlee and Gus and UCF. Yeah, give me the Knights, absolutely.
Yeah, the issue I have here is that, from the Louisville side, is that I think UCF could probably run a better version of that Syracuse offense that beat Louisville by 24 points last week.
Yeah.
So I'm with you.
All right.
UCF minus the number. I considered making that a lock, but I'm not going to do it. I've got other ones here. Saturday, 12 p.m., high noon on ESPN. South Carolina at Arkansas. Arkansas favored by 8.5, Dan. Who you got?
Arkansas. You can say it's sort of a letdown situation, but it's an SEC game. I don't think it's a letdown game. It's week 2 of the season. South Carolina, with that Beamer blood, with that Beamer DNA, getting points on special teams. Awesome. Game-changing plays on special teams. Amazing. Look, if you're an LSU fan, it's definitely amazing to be able to get game-changing plays on special teams and in a positive way. But can't count on it every week. I like Arkansas. South Carolina has a ways to go, especially up front on offense. I think Arkansas eats a little bit. So, yeah, give me the Hogs by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm on the Hogs as well. And you mentioned South Carolina up front. The offensive line still in a great deal of turmoil.
Yep.
Sam Pittman's pedigree is line play. It is what he knows. Granted, more of an offensive line guy, but still
100%, yeah.
Knows how to break down that side of the football. And Arkansas has been good. Has been good at the trenches, and I think they will eat here as well. So I've got the Hogs minus the number. Also at high noon, ESPN2, it is Mizzou at your K-State.
In an almost border war? A border slap battle? Yeah.
7.5 is the line in favor of K-State. Is it weird if I'm kind of skeeved out by that point spread here?
No, skeeved out Saturday. It's not weird at all. In Kansas State, I was critical of, and it's hard to be critical in a 30-0 win, but I don't love Mizzou. Brady Cook was not amazing throwing the ball. And who'd they play last week? Louisiana Tech? Was that their opponent? I don't want to get things wrong. I know I do, but I'm trying not to. I'm going Mizzou here. I'm going Mizzou.
So am I. I can't quite explain it.
Kansas State outright. I think they win this game, but I think it's ugly, and ugliness means take points.
Also at high noon, CBS Sports Network. UTSA, the aforementioned UTSA, squaring off against Army. These teams played tough matchups in week 1. Yeah. UTSA against Houston, Army against Coastal Carolina, lost that game. UTSA favored by 2.5. They're playing this one at Army. Both schools, again, tough beat last week. I'm going to ride with the U.S. Army here in what I believe could be a letdown spot for UTSA. 3 overtime game, lose to in-state Houston. Now you got to travel
across the country,
a good chunk of the way across the country, and play a weird offense. that's tough to prepare for just normally.
Correct.
So give me Army. Give me Army plus 2.5 at home.
I'm with you. I agree for the very same reasons. Triple overtime loss, taking on an option team, middle of Hudson Valley, just different. It's travel. The number scares me a little bit that it seems toss-up-y, and I think obviously UTSA has the better quarterback to me. But yeah, situationally, I'm going Army.
2:30 NBC, Marshall at Notre Dame. Dan, Notre Dame favored by about 3 touchdowns. Who you got?
Notre Dame to unleash the Fury Mitch. Unleash the Fury Mitch. Yeah, Notre Dame is going to be very good this week. And if they're not, that's good for me too. I get to have fun with that. No, I think they win this game by 3 touchdowns plus. After getting Ohio State, it'll be nice. Though, Sunbelt Marshall. I don't know, man. Everybody in the Sunbelt is extra spicy. If this is a spicy year overall, the Sunbelt is the conference of the utmost spice.
Marshall's a decent side. I'm not as confident as you are. They've got an influx of that guys.
No,
from
I hear
the last
you.
couple years of college football. Henry Columbi is the quarterback. You remember him?
Yeah, Columbia.
Transfer. Columbia, excuse me. Whatever. Yeah. Clint Trickett is the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So I don't like Notre Dame's line should be able to disrupt whatever Marshall wants to do on offense. They're good enough up front. I'm most interested in whether Notre Dame can establish a running game because it's a patchwork defensive front for Marshall. They went out in the offseason. They recruited a bunch of guys from the portal, played for other Power 5 institutions to come in there and patch things up. But this is the kind of game that Notre Dame needs to hopefully establish its running presence. And so I don't know if that means a heavier dose of Audric Estime, my new favorite name on
Your
Notre
guy?
Dame. But
Yeah,
my guy. He's the kind of guy who I think in this game could really give Notre Dame an edge. So I'll take Notre Dame minus 20.5. I don't feel particularly strongly about that, but I'm what I am watching for first and foremost is the rushing attack. I want to see them establish dominance on the ground here and prove that they can at least do it against somebody.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah, Marshall should be good this year.
It should be.
I just think it's a neck crack opportunity. I don't mean that in a violent way. A neck crack opportunity for Notre Dame after scoring 10 points to sort of, again, unleash the Fury Mitch and have fun scoring points because it's been a minute.
3:30 on Fox. Wazoo, a 17.5-point dog on the road in Madison against the Wisconsin Badgers. Dan, who you got?
The Badgers. I'm going to go with Wazoo to cover, Wisconsin to win. Wisconsin in that kind of number against at least a feisty Wazoo team. It doesn't strike me as a squad who is going to jump all over them, especially with how slowly they started last year. New offensive coordinator. Braylon Allen has star potential. I just don't think they're that kind of team. So, yes, they can win this game 24-3 and not score a ton of points and just completely hold down Wazoo and a new look offense for the Cougs that struggled at times. They had Idaho last week, correct? I think Wazoo can do enough to it. I don't have Wazoo winning this game, but yeah, I have this as 24-13.
I'm going in on Wisconsin. This is a direct quote from the Sneaky Stats column, which you can find out at solidverbal.com from our good friend Travis May, who does an awesome job writing every Wednesday for us. Quote, Wisconsin averaged 8.3 yards per play against Illinois State in week 1.
Yeah.
There's been exactly one Power 5 conference school that averaged more than 8.3 yards per play throughout its season in the history of college football, and that was 2018 Oklahoma. On the flip side, Washington State struggled against a bad FCS team in Idaho and only managed 24 total points and 5.5 yards per play. Let's go Wisconsin here, Dan.
Just getting you on the record here. You spent all offseason talking about Cameron Ward being all in. You can't wait. He throws for 5 yards per attempt against FCS Idaho. Have you completely abandoned ship?
No.
This is your opportunity. Ty, this would be your opportunity.
This would be. It would be.
To push chips to the center and said, for months, I have believed, all in, watch clips at 2 a.m. I'm in. This would be your opportunity because this is a primetime moment for Cameron Ward to say, here I am. Last week.
All right, I'll do it for you, okay? I said I wasn't going to do this. I said I wasn't listening to anybody.
I'm just asking. I'm just
speaking,
clarifying.
You're speaking to my soul with my guy Cam Ward. What the hell? Getting like 18 points? What the hell? Why not? All right. 3:30 ESPN2, App State on the road at A&M. Do we have an upset brewing here, Dan? A&M, 18.5 points the favorite at home.
No. 18.5?
18.5, yeah.
I watched App State attempt to play defense last week. Look, if that's their defense's worst day, if we're throwing out what we think could be a team's worst day at doing something, likely that's their worst day on defense all season long, and especially if we believe in Drake May as an upper-tier quarterback. Haynes King might be an upper-tier quarterback, has upper-tier talent around him. I think it's a letdown spot, going to a tough Kyle Field. I think A&M comfortably beats them down.
I'm with you. Let's go A&M. A&M minus the number. Virginia at Illinois. Illinois favored by 4.5. I'm going Virginia. I figure if Illinois can't stop Connor Bazelak, how are they stopping Brennan Armstrong? So,
agree. I'm right there with you. That was my line of thinking. It's who's on the road. I still don't love Virginia's defense, but I don't think Illinois and Tommy DeVito have the offense to make them pay.
Saturday, 7:30 ESPN2, ASU at Oklahoma State. This is my moment to shine, my man.
I'm ready.
Give me ASU plus the points.
You called them your wild card.
Yeah. What kind of a hypocrite would I be? Or how big of a hypocrite would I be if I abandoned ASU now after accidentally saying that they could win the Pac-12 South? So
yeah, that's true.
Arizona State plus the number here. That's my
I have
pick.
Oklahoma State big. I have Oklahoma State by 3 touchdowns.
Saturday.
They take a step forward on defense. Spencer Sanders eats.
Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, ACC Network, Boston College at Virginia Tech. I hope nobody watches this game. This seems like an awful game to watch. Just an awful viewing experience for both fan bases.
Yeah. We talk about the removal of juice from Palo Alto. You lose to ODU. You get a little juice trickle in Blacksburg as well. That's a tough way to start the year. I'm going Boston College because
I don't know.
I'm worried about Virginia Tech this year all of a sudden more than I was. I'm going BC. Not with any sort of confidence.
But BC lost to Rutgers.
Yeah, but I'm ready for the Rutgers resurgence, baby.
I'm not sure.
I'm a
I
New
don't
Jersey
fully understand.
legacy.
I don't fully understand what happened in that game, the BC Rutgers game.
Not much.
I know.
I'm
worried. I'm worried about Boston College, frankly, losing in that game.
I think. Okay, here's my line. I'm
going to go Boston College. I have Virginia Tech here highlighted, but I'm going to go Boston College because I'm sticking to my guns here in a sense because I've been worried about them all year.
You could understand why Boston College or Boston College players or coaches or some combination thereof can look at the schedule and say, we're opening with Rutgers, whatever, right? We'll be fine against Rutgers. You can understand how they're not fully engaged, if that's the reality, or they're just bad. I don't know. But I think the idea of Boston College getting their act together is something that we can imagine and picture in a more real way than Virginia Tech getting its act together in a more real way. Does that make sense to you? That you can see Phil Dracovic in your head because you've seen him have good games. You've seen Zay Flowers. You've seen different elements of this BC team, the secondary, make plays. Virginia Tech? If it exists, we just haven't seen it. We can't picture it in our very dumb brains. So I'm going BC here.
10:15 ESPN. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Baylor at BYU. BYU favored by 4 points. If you can believe that.
Yeah, it opened about 2.5, something in there. And
yeah. This is top 10 Baylor.
Yeah.
4-point dog on the road. I'm on BYU.
Same.
I'm on BYU. I like their offense. I think there are a lot of points here, and 4 isn't enough to scare me away. So a lot of points, probably a game that's fun as hell later into the evening. But I'm going Cougs, man. I like the Cougs.
The grime of the century. Grimy, back in the old stomping grounds for Baylor offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes. Altitude. You might say it's silly to pick a game based on how high above sea level you are. I think Baylor's a more talented team. Especially, I think Baylor's defense gives them a better chance to win more games than where I think BYU's defense could be at certain spots this year. Don't care. BYU at home with an offense at altitude in a big game. I'm going Cougars. You know I'm a believer, Ty. It may make no difference. It may be all in the players' heads. I'm a big believer in altitude. Next.
Let's go to 10:30, CBS Sports Network. Only 2 more games here, I promise.
No, I've got a few after this. Continue, though.
Oregon State at Fresno State. Here's lock of the week, numero dos.
Oh.
I'm going Fresno here. Lock number 2 of the week. Boise was a mess. Boise State, a mess last week on offense, which definitely gave an assist to Oregon State and a defense that I still don't trust. I think this week is a much different story with a much better team in Fresno State. So it's a pick 'em. Don't have to deal with the point spread at all. It's in Fresno. I've got Fresno State. Give me the Bulldogs.
Let me ask you this, and maybe it doesn't change anything, but it's going to be like 100 degrees in Fresno. It has been scorching. I mean, all over the country, but scorching in California especially. Is there anything that you look for in a game that's going to be especially high? Like the better defense should win, or the better offense, or the deeper team can weather a bunch of cramps or something like that? Is there any difference to you that weather can make? I mean, we've talked about monsoon games, but in this case, just extreme heat. Is there any factor there that you're like, oh, the team with the better this should win in a scorching hot game?
Are you trying to say that Oregon State is not prepared for this kind of heat?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't think any human is really prepared to play football in pads in 113-degree weather, if whatever the temperature is on the field for this one. What time is the kickoff in this one, by the way?
10:30 Eastern time.
So 7:30 local. So it won't be, I think the high is something like 98, 99 degrees. So it won't be that likely. It's still going to be hot. It's still going to be hot. So I'm actually going to go with Oregon State. I'm going to go with Oregon State here because in terms of craftiness, I think that plays a role. And I like Jeff Tedford a lot, and I like the offense, especially for Fresno State. But pure craftiness, I go with Jonathan Smith here and the Beavs.
Interesting.
More tested. Who did Fresno have last week?
I don't know.
Fresno last week. Are you not memorizing every single Mountain West schedule? They had the fighting some things of Cal Polytech, San Luis Obispo. Yeah. Beautiful area. Would love to live in San Luis Obispo someday. But I think the Beavers are better in a self-scouting perspective right now because who they've already played. So, give me Oregon State.
And finally, 11 p.m. on FS1. This is a late freaking game.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State at Arizona. Arizona State getting 11 points at home. Per one set of numbers I saw, Arizona should be a 19-point home dog.
Right.
So a lot of the projection systems pretty high on Mississippi State, or at least very down still on Arizona. I'm taking Arizona plus the 11. Can't fully explain it, but Arizona, I think in the early going, looked a lot better than people expected.
What if San Diego State is bad?
kind of. Thank you. Yeah. Kind of feels like a weird game for Mississippi State, a really late one across the country in Tucson. I don't know. I want those points at home.
I hate going against what might be an okay Arizona team at home at night in Tucson in the desert. Mississippi State covers on the road. Look, it depends on who they play, but last year they were very good on the road in terms of covering. They were something like 4-1. Small sample size, I hear ya. But San Diego State might be bad. It was Braxton Burmeister's San Diego State team. So
also
I don't know.
True.
I don't know what exactly.
Speaking of Gumpy, he just shows up everywhere.
Let's be clear. He is taking too many hits on this show. I hope Braxton Burmeister has a happy, healthy life. I hope he's in a wonderful place. Don't wish any ill on him. But also San Diego State might be a 6-6 team this year. That's a reality. So I'm going to go Mississippi State here. I'm going to go with talent. They comfortably beat Memphis last week. Yes, they covered that spread. I just think it's another level that Jaden DeLora and this Arizona offense are going to have to deal with. And I don't think they have, if plan A isn't working, I don't think plan B and C are going to get it done against Mississippi State. And I just don't think that is an offense that's going to stress you out constantly. And I just don't think they have the bodies on defense to deal with it. I have Mississippi State here winning the game 38-7 or 38-14 covering.
But they got your guy T-Mac. Arizona's got our guy T-Mac.
I hear you. It's one of those things, week 1 to week 2. We talk about overreacting, right? So If Arizona loses to San Diego, if Arizona barely beats San Diego State, what does this line look like? There's so little that's known about these teams. And you yourself just said they should be plus 18, 19, and it's plus 11.
Correct.
This is the opportunity. This is the opportunity because if there's anything that is overinflated in this game, it's probably Arizona being pretty good, right?
No love for the Cats.
I like Arizona, good deal, but let's not go crazy. Let's not go wild.
That's all I got, Dan. We went through a lot of action there in a very compressed period of time.
Oh my, I have a tablet talking to me. That's just talking.
What's it saying?
Sorry I couldn't connect to your Wi-Fi network. I didn't even know I had this tablet. That's weird. Maybe it's a spy tablet. I do want to mention, because you mentioned at the top of the show, Wake minus 13 at Vandy, 2-0 Vandy.
Yep.
I'm gonna have two good quarterbacks. I don't know. I don't have a read in that game. I guess it depends on who's playing quarterback. But if it is Sam Hartman, I like Wake there. Duke Northwestern down the street. Northwestern's favored by 10.
Take the Cats. Take the Cats. Take the Cats.
Give me Duke, because if there's a team
no,
that's overinflated, right?
Take the Cats.
Northwestern beating Nebraska might not be so impressive in 4 weeks, right? Air Force minus 17.5 against Colorado, hosting Colorado. I don't have a pick in that game. I just like, ooh, what a world in which we live, where that's like, that spread makes sense. And then you didn't mention it because you didn't even know this damn game was happening. Nebraska, Georgia Southern, Clay Helton. The Eagles, Kyle Van Treese, taking on Nebraska as 23.5 point dogs. Give me Georgia Southern. Come on. If there's any team that's overinflated in this game because of, not earlier. I guess they would be underinflated. Also, drop some big stanky. I don't know why we do drum and fight for this. We might need a new song, but drop something.
It is the FCS lightning round this year.
Yeah.
A nice little combination of Patriot League with other FCS action. Saturday, 1 p.m., we've got something called Post University on the road at Stone Hill, which I pulled this one out because they play it in Northeaston. Easton.
Yeah.
Not where Lafayette's from. Northeastern Massachusetts. Dan, who you got?
Both of these schools sound made up. One might exist in the back of an Orange Julius. I guess Stonehill? You don't just walk into Northeastern Mass and walk away with a win?
Nobody walks into Northeastern Mass.
Not Eastern. Northeastern.
Northeastern.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It could be Northeastern. I don't know. Stonehill here as well. Let's go to Fordham at Monmouth.
Monmouth.
Who you got?
I'm going Rams here. New York's one true
Gotta
team
go
on the
Rams.
road. Yeah.
Speaking of Easton, Lafayette at Temple. Temple got mollywopped in their first game against Duke. Got shut out.
Who did Lafayette beat?
I don't know.
No,
You're acting like I know what these teams have done. I have no idea.
Lafayette. Oh, that's basketball. Lafayette football. I'm almost positive they shut out somebody last week. I got an email from my dad. They beat Sacred Heart 6-0.
The FCS Iowa Lafayette Leopards.
Yeah, give me Lafayette, of course. Absolutely give me Lafayette. Temple didn't score a point last week, did they? Against Duke? 30-0? Yeah, give me Lafayette. Why not?
That would be a black eye for Temple. Okay, 5 p.m. How about this game, Dan? I'm stopping the music.
Please.
Lafayette at Georgetown.
No, not Lafayette. Lehigh at Georgetown.
What did I say? Lehigh
Lafayette. Yeah.
At Georgetown. Who you got?
No brainer, Hoyas. Continue.
Put it back on.
Okay.
Delaware State at Delaware, Dan. We had folks in the Discord wondering if there was football being played in the great state of Delaware. We've got an in-state rivalry this week at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Delaware State squaring off against the Blue Hens. Got to go Blue Hens, right?
Did they not just beat the United States Navy last week?
I believe they did.
Am I mistaken in saying that Delaware, the Blue Hens, the Flaccos, beat the United States Navy? Yeah, go Delaware.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. And last, but certainly not least, Tarleton, something called Tarleton, on the road at TCU. We get TCU in the FCS lightning round this week, Dan. Who you got?
I guess TCU. I guess Frogs.
TCU.
Chandler Morris out, so it should be some Max Duggan. I think there's a freshman that's getting some time. Yeah, I'm going to go Max Duggan to take down Tarleton. Tarleton.
There you go. That
By
does
the way,
it for week
By the way,
2.
should mention, I know the son, as it turns out. I know the son. I don't know if you know him, but I know the son of a former Delaware State coach, I believe. Shout out Joe P. I've told you about Joe P, right?
You told me about Joe P. Yeah.
Joe P, the son of former Delaware State head coach, Coach P. That's all.
There you go. That is week 2, our picks for week 2. If you are out there and listening and want to get in on the fun, verballers.com is where you can go to sign up, get access to our Discord server where you can chat all day long, stay up to date all day long with all of the action all Saturday long. Again, it is week 2, slow your roll Saturday. As we've coined it here on the show. Solidgiveaway.com. If you are listening to the show, it is clearly your last opportunity to register to win this Michael Mayer signed mini helmet that is behind me if you're watching on the video right now. Solidgiveaway.com, like 5 really quick and easy and free steps that you need to follow in order to get your name in that hat. We will draw the winner on September the 9th. Again, it is a Michael Mayer signed mini helmet.
Yeah.
The most baby Gronk of all the baby Gronks.
SolidVerbalLive.com for our New York live show where you can say hi, enjoy the show, support the show, and pay some sort of tribute to Mama H. I want to treat her like some sort of Dawn.
Mama H has never been at a live show. You've had your parents at a show. You've had your in-laws at a live show. We've never had Mama H at a live show. So I consider this a limited edition 1-of-1 ticket for anybody who will be in attendance. I'm not going to say we're going to build the whole show around Mama H. She'd be very embarrassed about that.
No. I have a specific ask of her. Continue.
Oh boy. Can't wait for that. Anyway, solidverballive.com or Smell Ties here. You bought it. It does technically work. Buy your tickets now, October the 7th. It is a rare Friday night show that we're going to be doing at Chelsea Music Hall in New York City. We're excited to meet the people. It's been 5 years. Can you believe it? 5 years since we did a show in New York.
Get out Friday night in New York. Also, just, you know how sometimes you'll see the parents, you'll see the mom or whoever of the starting quarterback in the crowd, and they're wearing a customized jersey that says like Steven's mom, like on the back. It's his number, but it says Steven's mom.
You want a Mama H jersey?
I don't want a Mama H jersey. What I want is one of the most extreme versions of that. I want her to show up with an airbrushed shirt of your face that says "My baby boy" across the top, and it's like just
like the 3 Wolf Moon shirt.
Yes,
but only with my face.
Because you're obviously her pride and joy. I want her to wear her pride, my baby boy, with a big. Maybe it's like your 3rd grade school picture or something with your big old Coke bottle glasses. That's what I want from Mama H. I know I won't get it, but that's what I want. That's my dream.
If you've made it this far, hit subscribe, hit follow. Thank you so much for downloading, for listening, for supporting the Solid Verbal College Football Podcast. Listen live tonight, this afternoon, wherever you may be, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. It is College Football Thursdays, starring Dan and I, live over on Spotify. In the meantime, before that guy over there, the monster of the podcasting midway, Dan Rubenstein. For myself, Ty Hildenbrand, thanks so much for downloading, listening, playing along at home. Talk to y'all soon. Stay solid.
Peace.